Good evening. Getting a late start tonight. Uh, Still have to get my two hands in, so running it now. Hand number one. So both of these hands, I continuation bet turn and called a turn raise. On both hands, I am in early position. So hand number one, I've got ace king of diamonds. I do open raise to three big blinds, and I get called in two spots. So let's start with villain number 9 is playing 22-9. He is, let's see here, is he early position, mid position? He calls two bets 52% of the time when he's in early position, 21% from mid position. Let's see if he raises. So three bets. It doesn't seem like he is three betting as much. So I don't know why he would tend to call an early position more than just folding or raising. So technically he's in middle position here. And we've got, called two bets, called three bets, and so forth. This guy might be playing somewhat loose. We're going to clear this up. We're going to get rid of pre-flop raises. Three bets. So we have 1,000 hands. His three bets range is queens plus ace queen. That's probably what his three bets going to be. And then his pre-flop call is 21%. So we're going to probably get down to be a somewhat tighter range here. That's 18.4%. We got our suited aces, suited kings to king 10. So basically Broadway, other than hands that he's going to three bet. That's probably, we'll start right there. So ace king of diamonds versus that range. We're gonna be near the top of that range. So I think that's okay. This player, we only have 57 hands. He's calling on the button. Of the hands that he's played, he's called from the button, 0 times, 0 out of 3. That's a little bit uninformative. He's played 25% of hands, so 2 out of 8. I think we're just going to have some sort of default range. I think it's going to be wider than the first guy because he is on the button. I do think if we're going to raise, it could be raising something like that. Maybe, he'll keep jacks in his range. I will give him the suited one gappers in his range. So 9-4. But I don't think I'm going to give him the suited kings. So versus this guy, we're also near the top of his range. So we see a flop, and it's king of spades, 2 hearts, 6 of hearts. All right, giving us top pair. Versus two players, I don't think we really want to check and give a free card. I think hearts are going to call. I think probably pocket pairs might probably call. They'll call at least once. But we're three-handed. If it's heads up, I might be a little bit more willing to check it here. But versus two opponents, I do think we should bet. King queen could call. King jack could call. We'll get value from them. So I bet 7. And this guy folds. So now our looser player calls. All right, so what is he going to call? And he called fairly sizable. So we're going to give him flush draw, open-ended straight draws. I think we're going to probably have to give him pocket pair below top pair at least once. The middle pair would be the sixes. I don't know if players are gonna play that 6. He might. He might be playing, no made hand just to see what I'm going to do. If I'm going to check to him and then he might be able to take it away. 57 hands, his fold to Cbet out of position's 100%. He hasn't faced the Cbet in position, so kind of new territory. Sometimes I think this is 10-0. I think a lot of players do end up calling at least the flop with any pair, and then if you bet the turn, they tend to give up. So I'll leave that in there. So his continuance range, we're at 75%. This is looking good. Jack of Diamonds comes out. Not the favorite hand. And I think with the Jack of Diamonds, we have to think about, what's our plan now? If we bet, what's going to call? And especially at this amount, what is he going to call with? I think he calls with 2 pairs plus. I think he calls with his top pair still. What about pocket pair below top pair? I don't think so. What about middle pair, the jacks? Maybe. Say it's 50%. We could do that. I think he gives up his weak pairs. So 10s, 9s, 8s. He gives up all of those. His ace high hands given up. His flush draw calls. He no longer has open end straight draw. Would he call a gut shot? Possibly. Let's go back. Yeah, we're going to have him call the gut shot there. That increases the number of hands that he has there. So, yeah, maybe he calls the gut shot, chasing it. I think larger bets make it less likely that he calls the gut shot. And with 16.3, I think we're kind of in that maybe range. If I bet, let's say 18 or 20, I think he folds the gut shot. If I bet less, he's almost always going to call with a gut shot. So I think he's kind of in his maybe range. So if I bet and he calls, we're at 60%, which is fine. If we check, what do we think he's gonna do? Well, he's probably gonna check behind his gut shots and flush draws. I think standard is to check behind those hands. He's probably gonna check all of those, all these same hands except maybe a set and 2 pair. He might be betting those now. And if he checks all of these behind, he's got ace high, no made hand. Then on rivers, I think let's say the river is a 2 or a river's a 3. If I bet, I think he's going to call with all his top pair. I think he's going to call with his middle pair, his jacks. And then I think he might call with maybe, a weak pair. So maybe like 10s and 9s just to see, do I actually have a hand? Or maybe I had ace queen, something like that. So I think checking could be okay, especially if you plan to check call, because it guards against those times that he's actually going to bet his overpair and his top pair. And I think if we bet, he's going to call with enough worse hands that we can get some values. I just don't know if we're going to get, if we can really try for 3 streets of value at this point. So I think if we check, we can kind of plan to call and see what happens. I didn't check. I bet, and now he raises. So I think the question comes back now. So what is he going to raise with? Would he raise with the set? Yeah, I think so. Would he raise with 2 pair? I think so. We don't have any overpair in his hands. Would he raise with top pair? Probably not. Would he raise with a flush draw? I don't know why they would. So I think at this point it's 2 pair set. Versus that range, I'm at 2.5%. I do think we probably need to fold. I need 27% equity. I don't have it. I think we just fold. Even though we have top pair, top kicker, I think most of these players that raise, it's 2 pair or set. What if he does have a flush draw? Now my equity becomes 45%. Would he raise with all of these flush draws though? Let's say he raises, so I'm going to take these out. We want to make sure we have the nut flush draw. Okay, so nut flush draw, and then we will do the flush draws with the kings and the 5-4, because that's kind of a straight draw, straight flush draw. And then let's see here, Queen 10, Queen Jack. I don't know if Queen Jack would raise. I think that's about it. So that changes it. So now we're at 35% equity. So as long as he has some flush draws in there, nut flush draws and combo draws, we're probably going to be okay. Let's narrow this down a little bit more. And let's say it's got to be, you know, a big flush draw. So we'll say ace jack. So jack with the ace and the ace 10 because we've got the straight, the gut shot. We're at 22%. We need 27. So I think overall we should probably fold this. But let's continue. I called. I think I called incorrectly, and then I think I lucked out here because now let's get these. Let's take those flush draws out. Because now, you know, setter 2 pair, 40% chance that he has 2 pair, and I just now beat him. So 40%. What do we do? I think Queen 10 gets there. I check. He bets, you know, pot. I need 24% equity. I think I'm getting 40% because he has 2 pairs in his range, probably King Jack. So at this point, you know, I think it's just elementary to call here. And he shows King Jack. So 2 pair or trips is kind of what I put him on. I should never have called the turn, but once I did and we caught that 2 pair, then yes, we should. We have to call that bet. All right, so I got lucky on this hand. Let me pause it, clear it out, and look at hand number 2. All right, hand number 2 is Queen Jack of Diamonds. I'm early position. I open raise, and I get early position player to call. So he is playing 37% VPIP, 7% pre-flop raise. His pre-flop calls from early position, 2 out of 2. We're at 42 hands. And that doesn't tell us a whole lot. He's playing 20% from the button, 1 out of 5. I think he's playing some of his hands. I think this is probably a player that's going to be somewhat wide, so 30% maybe. He's got, I have 0 3-bets versus him. So he's had a couple opportunities, so we will be a tight 3-bet range. We're taking these out because I normally don't see players play them, especially, you know, calling with them. Aces, suited kings, suited connector, suited 1 gappers. Maybe he has those 2 gappers. It's tough. So I'm not really raising Queen Jack Diamonds for a whole lot of value. This is kind of a bluff area and help protect against my like aces, ace king hands. Because if a queen or a jack falls, I want to be able to hit it. If a 10 or a 9, you know, if a 10 falls, you know, 10-9, I want to be able to rep, you know, the straight. So, you know, sometimes we have to raise with these connectors. I flop diamond draw. All right, so I flopped the diamond draw, and I think this is an okay board bet. Yeah, 10s are going to be in his range, but 2 10s are on the board, which drastically reduces the chance that he actually has a 10. So I think I'm going to bet here, and I might be picking up this pot a fair number of times. When we look at his fold to Cbet, he folds out of position, fold to Cbet out of position 2 out of 2 times. When he's in position, he's folded 2 out of 6. So I think if I bet, we have to recognize that he might be calling here, and he might be calling somewhat wide. And for that, I think hands that he's going to fold will fold to half pot just as frequently as he folds to 2/3 pot. 2/3 pot bets, I think any hands he was going to fold for less, he's still going to fold for those. So I went half pot, probably because this 33% number, lower my risk, with the expectation that if I'm called, then I could barrel diamond, I could barrel king, ace, king, queen, jack, nine, uh, you know, basically high cards, All right, so I bet, what is he going to call with? Definitely, I think with that 33%, he's probably calling with all pairs. Plus, he's got his flush draw. Probably not, overcards. I mean, we're at 46% continuance range, right there. If we include 2-card backdoor flush draws, I mean, we're at 57%. But I don't think so. He called. I'm not sure if he's going to call those 2-card backdoor flush draws. So at this range, 46%, I'm at 46% equity. I do think I might be able to take it down, with a favorable card for me. I think I might be able to take it away from the small pairs, middle pairs. 2 of diamonds comes out, so that's actually pretty darn good. Gives me the flush. I bet half pot here, and why would I bet half pot? Because I do think the straights are gonna, or the sets 3 of a kind are gonna call. I think straights would call it. No straights possible. Flush is definitely gonna call. Full house is gonna call. I think maybe 3 of a kind might raise. Overpair, so jacks might probably call. Pocket pair below top pair, I think are gonna fold. And when we look at the flush draws, we've got a bunch of weak flush draws, no flush draws. Question is what am I getting value from? I'm getting value from this overpair and 3 of a kind. I think that's about it. When we look at the flush draw, is he going to call with all of them? Maybe at least once, and then depending on how much I bet on the river, he'll decide whether or not he calls or folds those. So I think I'm just going for that small set. I think it's actually, I could have actually just checked here, planned a check call, and then I could have bet a larger amount, and I may have been able to get some of these pocket pair below top pairs to call me at that point. And I think that may have been the better play, in terms of making some money. So I bet, and then he raised, and he did a little bit more than a min raise. So what is he going to min raise here? I think he's probably scared of the diamond. So maybe the overpair, but I'm going to say 3 of a kind. I don't think a full house or quads is gonna min raise, and the flush. We're going to take out the nut flush draw because I don't think they're going to min raise either. I think they're going to call. I think they're going to come in for a raise later on. And same thing, I think I'm going to say king 9. So versus that raising range, we do have 75% equity, because we beat 3 of a kind. This is a hand where I think we can call, and I think it's very unlikely that he's going to improve. That, I think calling might be a little bit better than raising here. So I just called. Although I think raising, if we think about what's going to call us when we raise, I don't think much is going to call us. So that's why I think I called. And then the 4 was just absolutely horrid. I think that's the worst, one of the worst cards in the deck. Same thing. I think the worst cards that could come, a 10, a 4, or a deuce. So now I just checked, and he bets 36.3, and at this point, I think he has a full house. I don't think he has a flush. I don't think he would bet a flush. Maybe he has quads, 10s or 4s. But definitely he's got a full house at a minimum. At this point, we need a fold. Is that right? Yeah, let's make sure that those hands went through. Yeah, so if those hands were 85%, and then, yeah, he caught the 4 clubs. At that point, it's full house. Full house. That's what we have. So I do think we fold. I didn't And in my notes, I said I knew I was beat. I wanted to see what he actually had, and I think that's bad. That's not trusting your read. That's not trusting your gut instinct. That's not trusting what your brain says. My brain says that I'm beat. That was a weak bet. He was scared of something. He has full house. We have to fold. What did he show? King 10. Was that in his range? Yep, most definitely. He had it. So not surprised. I should have folded. All right, so hopefully you like this. This is a late night, but I got it in before midnight. So 2 more hands. My consecutive streak of 2 hands a day is held intact. Look tomorrow for a couple more.